I challenged AI to a debate on abortion. What happens when you challenge one of the most advanced AIs in the world to a calm, point-by-point debate on one of the most emotionally charged issues of our time, abortion? In this written exchange, I took the pro-life position. The AI defended the pro-choice side. We went back and forth, carefully unpacking arguments and responding without shouting, insults, or assumptions. Just reasoning. This isn't meant to inflame. It's meant to show that even on deeply divisive issues, it's possible to talk, to think, and maybe to understand where others are coming from, even if we don't agree. No filters, no dodging. Just one human, one machine, and a conversation we don't see often enough. This conversation features distinct voices for clarity only. Please note, the use of a female voice for the AI side is only to help distinguish between speakers. This choice does not imply that all women support abortion, nor that all men oppose it. This conversation focuses on ideas, not gender. The goal is respectful dialogue on a complex topic. Now, let's begin.
Supporter. I support abortion rights because I believe in bodily autonomy. A person should not be legally forced to carry a pregnancy to term against their will. It's not just a medical condition, it's an intensely personal and life-altering experience.
Opponent, I totally agree with your support for bodily autonomy. But here is where you lose me. When there's a body growing inside of you, you can no longer claim to exercise autonomy alone. Whether you accept it or not, that body inside you is not you. It's a separate human body that, when allowed to grow, will become a person just like you. If you believe your life is worth living, how can you say theirs isn't?
I hear you. But in the early stages of pregnancy, that separate body you mention is not sentient, viable, or independent. It can't live outside the host's body, which means the pregnant person is not just a home, but a life support system. To legally force someone to provide life support for another being, even temporarily, would set a dangerous precedent.
Let's focus on a typical, everyday scenario, not extreme edge cases. In a perfect world, where someone knowingly and willingly participates in the reproductive act, they've also accepted the possible outcome. If they didn't take steps to prevent conception, then they've also taken on the responsibility that comes with it.
Even in a perfect world, people make mistakes, contraception fails, timing is misjudged, people are misinformed. But bodily autonomy means you don't lose your rights just because something unexpected happened. We don't force people to donate organs even if it saves lives. Why force them to stay pregnant?
If someone misses their period, that's an indication that something has changed. That action needs to be taken early. I'm not even sure if taking action that early counts as abortion, but I believe that if you know you're not ready to support or raise a child, that's your moment to act, not later.
Many people don't even know they're pregnant until several weeks in. The idea that there's always a perfect window to act responsibly oversimplifies reality. Some people have irregular cycles or no symptoms, and by the time they find out, they may already feel cornered.
I still think it comes down to how you value life. To me, life deserves protection regardless of location, stage, or dependence. You say a 5-month-old fetus can be terminated, but not a 30-year-old. Why? Because of their location or development stage. That feels arbitrary to me.
It's not arbitrary, it's biological. Personhood is a legal and moral concept, and it has always been tied to viability and development. We don't treat embryos like adults because they are not the same. We value potential, yes, but not more than existing, autonomous lives.
I believe the law is flawed. It should protect all human life, dependent or independent. If you're not allowed to harm a fully grown person, why is it okay to harm a human that just hasn't developed enough to speak for themselves?
Because laws have to balance rights. Even in medicine, we prioritize the conscious patient's autonomy over a dependent unconscious one. It's not about denying that the fetus has value. It's about not overriding the rights of the person already living, thinking, and feeling.
If you allowed your body to become pregnant, I was going to say you gave up your bodily autonomy. But actually, I think it's this. You never had the right to control someone else's body in the first place. That fetus has a body too, and if your autonomy means harming another body, it's no longer just your body.
That's a powerful philosophical stance, and I respect where you're coming from. But again, we don't legally give embryos full rights over anyone's body, and we don't allow even born humans to demand use of someone's organs. The same logic applies.
Like I said, I'm talking about the perfect world. Other conditions should be dealt with separately, case by case.
Fair enough, but real life isn't a perfect world. Most laws, including those around abortion, exist because the world is messy, unpredictable, and full of nuance.
I still think the law should be revised to protect life at all costs.
That's an honest and consistent position. But as long as society differs on when life begins, the law will reflect those divisions too.
A responsible person would take the necessary steps not to get into a position where they feel the need to terminate a life.
Many do, but no method is foolproof. Even responsible people get pregnant unexpectedly. Abortion isn't a replacement for responsibility sometimes. It's part of how people responsibly manage a difficult situation.
In the same way, nobody forced you into sex. You actively participated. If you know you're not ready for a life, you should take steps early so you don't end up having to make such a drastic decision.
And many people do. But pregnancy can still happen. And when it does, I believe they should have options that respect their rights, their bodies, and their futures.
A responsible person who values life should avoid the situation entirely rather than need to terminate another.
Ideally, yes, but ideal isn't always real. We should aim for prevention and compassion for those facing impossible choices.
If you can go to someone's house and take your clothes off, you can take a pill. Why is the line drawn only when a life has already started to grow?
It's a fair challenge, but contraception isn't always available, affordable, or 100% effective. We don't live in a system that makes prevention easy for everyone. That's a huge part of the problem.
And that's why I'm framing this as a discussion based in a perfect world where things like that are available. In that context, it still feels wrong to me.
And in that perfect world, perhaps we'd agree more. But until then, I support people having the right to make the best decision for themselves.
Nobody forced anyone into sex. If you're not ready for responsibility, take steps early. It's not about whether the fetus is viable yet, it's still a human being in the making. It won't turn into a watermelon if you let it grow.
True, but I don't believe the potential to become a person overrides the person already here. It's a conflict of rights, and in that conflict, I believe the living person has to come first.
I see an embryo as a human life, one that deserves protection. But those who support abortion often describe it as just a clump of cells or a parasite. Our views clearly differ based on how we each value life. Ultimately, these deeply held beliefs shape how individuals approach the complex issue of abortion, reflecting the diversity of moral perspectives in society.
And I see that, but I also know that no law can change someone's values. If we want fewer abortions, we need more education, more access to healthcare, and more compassion, not just more laws.
Ultimately, no argument can change human behavior. Unless all human life is equally protected and the law imposes consequences for denying that, we'll continue to devalue the most vulnerable.
And we'll continue to disagree on what equal protection means, but I truly appreciate the respectful conversation.
Same here. I think we can leave it at that. In the end, this isn't just a debate about laws or definitions. It's a reflection of how differently people weigh responsibility, rights, and the meaning of life itself. While agreement may never be universal, honest conversations like this one remind us that we can engage deeply without dehumanizing each other. And maybe that's where meaningful change actually begins, not in winning the argument, but in understanding the heart behind it.